Hey guys, welcome to the Australia vlog. So of course I was just being my normal self tonight, and I hopped onto Google Maps because I wanted to waste time, and I started looking at Australia because I don't know why I started looking at Australia actually, but started looking around, seeing okay, so I live in Los Angeles. I grew up in Los Angeles, and somehow recently I've developed a mindset. I don't know. I just really like mocking everyone else that's not, because here in LA we basically have everything. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying the population wise we have so many people that we're just it's huge. So I like to, and this kind of started when we would start. Where did we go? When we went up to Shaver Lake, for Boy Scout camp, and for, just normal camping this year. And I feel like I went up there twice this year, but I don't know. I honestly, though, I don't know why else I'd be up there. But, just being, and for Delta going up through Stockton, I started to make fun of, Stockton and Fresno and Bakersfield, especially Fresno. Just Shaver, every time, any mention of Fresno, I'm just in the back of my mind roasting Fresno, Fresno. Just because, Fresno is a city, but, is it really a city in the middle of the desert? What are you guys doing? It's just a random community that they put in the middle of this huge valley of literal nothingness. They're not near anything. They have to drive for hours to get to anything in the real world. It's just I love Fresno. So yeah, I decided to look at Australia. So I'm okay, what is our country even connected? Because what is it? Is it Russia? I don't know what else it'd be. I think it's Russia or no, it's Canada. I think Russia, there's a chance Russia, I may be wrong on this, but isn't connected by a single road across the entire country. Russia's huge, so I wouldn't be surprised I feel like there is something, but maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But I don't know, Canada, the only way to get from one side of Canada to the other is a single 2-lane highway. Literally, if that, if they have a bridge or something or a tree falls, the country is disconnected. Some parts of the country don't have access to the capital anymore. That's just crazy. So, I'm looking around Australia can you guys even get it? So, I started messing around with the directions. Okay, I guess all the cities are connected. I started hopping on. First thing I noticed, of course, 3D view, which is lit in America, does not work in Australia because they didn't have, I don't know, they have... 3D is pretty impressive, so I'm sure there's a lot of work that has to go into it that you don't put in for Australia. So the 3D doesn't work there, so I was haha, Australia, no 3D. And then, I was looking around at all their cities, and just something that stood out to me. So I was looking around at Sydney and everything, and then I clicked on Australia as a whole to kind of look up let's see what the top cities are, so I can go around, look at them, see if they have 3D, or look at their street view, see how big they are, see their population. And I realized that the capital city it's Canberra, or I think it's Canberra. And I was wait a minute, hold up. It's not Sydney? What's going on here? So that kind of caught me off guard, because Sydney's basically the only city anyone's ever heard of in Australia. I keep wanting to call it Russia. So, Canberra, okay. But I looked at it, and I'm holy smokes, this is a legendary city. So, although probably no one lives in it, and Australia is a lonely country, and there's more, what's our population? There's more people living in California than there are in Australia. Their capital is super lit and probably a lot better than Sacramento, but they have this huge hill with the classic beautiful hill with mowed lawns and beautiful green grass, and at the top of the hill they have a really nice Capitol building. That's where the Parliament is, and they have a little restaurant and cafe and stuff, and then there's a huge spire that goes up in the very center. So it's a huge grassy hill with the spire in the very center, and surrounding it there's series and series of circular roads, getting gradually bigger as the circumference increases. further out. But just like circular roads going around, loop roads going around, and then through that there's streets going out straight, and then there's one street that goes out straight to the channel, and then across the channel it continues, and it's just kind of this straight walk with just kind of it's actually like the National Mall, like the distance going towards the Capitol building in DC. It's just a straight wide open walk with some trees and some green grass and roads on the side, kind of going down the sides of it. So if you look at it in Canberra works on 3D. Sydney could not go 3D, but Canberra could. So I was like, what's going on with this? But whatever, it worked. But I was looking at it, and you look, and you come up, you align perfectly with this straight road, right? You have the walk leading up, you have the Capitol building, beautiful Capitol building with all the green grass on the sides and the architecture, and then it goes straight out. You have more of this grassy walk over the river, and then it finishes out and goes to a mountain. It looks super cool. So layout-wise, I was actually really impressed that Canberra looks like a legitimately great place. So yeah, Australia. Okay, and also, what the heck? So I was going through the desert. Apparently there's street view in the desert. Did you know that basically all of Australia is a desert? Goodness gracious. It's red. Like, what? It's one thing, like, oh, maybe, the from the satellite view, like, you don't know. But, like, I put my street view guy on, and there's, like, the sand is literally, like, it's red, not like a, like, a little tainted, like, it is red sand, like something you'd buy at a store. It's like, what the heck, what's going on? So, that was really weird. I'd like to find out why that sand is red. That's super interesting and odd, but, okay, good job, Australia, red sand. So yeah, also, they have a city called I was looking around, just kind of like looking around for cities that exist. There's a city up north, beautiful beach, called Darwin. Like, the city's called Darwin, and then right south of there, they have the Charles Darwin National Park. I'm like, y'all, what a beautiful city to name after Charles Darwin. Like, really, guys? I'm like, oh, dear. Anyways, that's it. So, Canberra has inspired me to start thinking about planning. City planning is super fun. Well, at least for me it is, because I'm that kind of guy. But, I drew a city on a piece of graph paper the other day. It was pretty fun. Turned out okay. But the ideal city that I was thinking of, it's clearly unrealistic, because cities form for one reason. You guys probably know this, and that's trade. And that trade is almost always just water, and that water is almost always ocean. Most cities are on the ocean or on the sea, right? But then there are a few that are on rivers, or not a few. There's a good bunch that are on rivers, but all cities form basically because they're in a place of trade, a place where a lot of people will travel through or to. So most of the time almost all the time that involves water, right? And then almost all the time water involves the ocean. So it's almost always on an ocean or a major river, like the Mississippi River or something like that. You have a lot of cities on that. And then every once in a while you get a city like, get ready for this, Fresno. But it's on the 99 entrance to kind of Yosemite and Shaver. So just kind of a naturally formed city right there, just in a place where there could be some commerce. And, there are a lot of small towns off the 99 and the 5. And, some of them just decide to be Fresno and then just get bigger. So, go Fresno. Wonder if would Fresno have a team? Probably not. Well, anyways. So, what? It could be like, go Fresno Frogs. Okay, I'm going to stop. But, yeah, so it'd be unrealistic to have a huge flat plain with a city, but it's fun to think about having a nice city with a city center, like that, maybe the capital or a grassy hill, but you could you could take a pin and put it in the ground and be the exact center of the city. That kind of thing. You have that on a big grassy hill, and all the grass is perfectly cut. And then around that you kind of have a loop, your inner loop road, and then roads starting to go out, and then as they go out further, you have a really tight, the most tight beltway. This is going to be a beltway kind of ish city. And then that's where you have your tightest beltway, and from that tight beltway, you have, say, maybe like 8 freeways going out. So you have at 45-degree angles, one here, one here, one here, one here, one here. So 45-degree angles, freeways going out from that central freeway beltway that's pretty tight around the center of the city, but you have some city inside that. And so you have 4 roads going to the capital at 90-degree angles. They go out, they turn into freeways when they hit the beltway, and then from the beltway they're also. But you can't have all 8 freeways coming in meet in the middle, because then the center of your city is just a flipping interchange, a really tall interchange at that. So kind of have to have a beltway to stagger it. So it turns into like an enlarged traffic circle where if people go, but they can go both ways. Since it's wide enough that you don't want one direction. So you guys get that. But so kind of like a beltway traffic circle-ish type of thing. And then beltways further out. I don't know. At a certain point, you want to turn it into a grid. This might be a long vlog. At a certain point, you might want to turn it into a grid, because grids are kind of better. But I don't know what that. Maybe after the first beltway, is that an appropriate time to turn? Maybe it just turns into a grid really quickly. I don't know, but maybe it's after that like first beltway. That now you start gridding, but I don't know. And then, so a grid obviously 90 degrees, and then you have the 45s just piercing down, I guess, as diagonals. I suppose that could work. That's an interesting thought. There are 2 grid patterns, and there's one that I prefer better. There's a grid pattern that New York City has adopted, where the entire thing is quite literally a grid. And this makes a lot more sense for this is the just really simple, basic, easy way. If you want to get around, you can take almost any street, straight to where you're going, right? Or, you guys see what I'm saying? You know the direction and you know the street it's on, right? It's like you could be on one side of the city, but if you go the direction you know it is, and then when you hit the cross street that your destination is literally on, you just turn and keep going that street to the end. But there's another way, which most of Los Angeles is especially in the San Fernando Valley. The valley has really, really adopted this. And I call it like a wider grid. I'm sure there's a technical term for it. But you have gridded boulevards and parkways. Call them boulevards, but you have like Wilshire's not up there, I don't know. But you have a grid of boulevards going north, south, east, west. Yeah, duh. And then, but within those grids, you have more complex communities and squiggling streets. And the reason for that is there's no such thing as a residential street in a New York type grid. That's why every street in New York City can basically be, a New York City street, a busy street. Because you're on this street and it's clogged up. Maybe you can't go one street over because it's a one-way street, but you go 2 streets over and bam, you're going the exact same direction. And, yeah, you're on a street going the exact same direction and you're going faster. So any street is a viable through street when you have that kind of grid. But when you have a wider grid like what LA and a lot of cities, even in suburbs, a lot of times, you have this grid thing where the boulevards, of course you want people to be using the boulevards, it's more direct. But then inside, the 2 reasons, now you can have residential communities where they don't have to worry about being constantly trafficked, because you can create the weird shapes inside there that make it, like no one's going to go through there, they'll go around it, right? So that also just lets you have more fun. The residential communities don't have to be a grid as well, because, grids can get boring. They're helpful on a wide scale, but smaller, it'd be cooler to have, squiggling streets and stuff, cul-de-sacs and all that fun stuff. And then also, you can have big things without screwing up your the grid layout. So, New York Central Park is cutting off a whole bunch of streets because, of how big it is, right? But you couldn't create a park as big as Central Park, but in a wide-scale grid pattern, you could put in very good-sized parks, or, probably you'll need a stadium if you had a sports team, or you know, just something that's bigger than what's going to fit on, you know, the block of a New York type grid. You can put these bigger things and they can take up, you know, a much larger space without interrupting any through streets, any of the boulevards that you want to have going all the way through that, you know, go straight, never turn. Now, in this, obviously, LA is not perfect because, especially in the greater basin, the basin just, man, you have just streets everywhere just going this way and that way, and it's partially due to, you know, there are some hills, but I mean, sometimes like, what are you doing, man? But San Fernando Valley, it's a pretty perfect grid. It's great. So yeah, anyways, hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like. If you did not like the video, please do leave a dislike. Don't forget to share your opinion. Oh my gosh, I need to redo this. Holy smokes, I need to go to bed. 10:50. Oh wow. I hope you all have enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like. If you did not like the video, leave a dislike. This is hard. Don't forget to share your opinion in the comment section below, and I will see you tomorrow.